Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Last Monday, I was really excited to show off card number 66 off of my 100 cards for $10,000 list. Not only was it a great looking 1970 Topps Roberto Clemente, but I think I got a really good deal on it. Well, today I'm even more excited to show off card number 67 off of my list. Not only does this get me now down to one more card needed to complete this player's playing day run, but other than his rookie card, I think this is the player's second most expensive card because it is a card in the high number series of that set. So one, it is harder to find, and two, it's fairly hard to find a nicely well-centered copy. Now, I've been telling you as I progress on my list here that there may be some cards that I may have to overspend from what I had listed on my 100 card list. I've been doing really good at paying under what I had originally anticipated on spending by dropping down a grade or two or just looking for a really good bargain. Well, in this case, I went over my budget, and not by just a little bit. There's another card that I've picked up, the 1972 Topps Nolan Ryan, which I went way over budget, and this one I think I spent $5 more than what I went over budget on that Nolan Ryan. But I love my Nolan Ryan, and I love this card as well. Definitely worth it, and it also helps that I still had a few eBay gift card dollars remaining from Christmas that I put toward this purchase, so it definitely helped the out-of-pocket cost on my end. So great card, great deal all around. So I'm going to turn the camera around, show off card number 67 along with some of the other favorite cards that I have in my collection of that player. So let's go take a look. All right, card number 67 is this 1970 Topps Johnny Bench. I've wanted this card for so long. Once it was on my project, but it's again one of those expensive cards. It's in the high number series of the 70 Topps set, and just take a look at the centering and the registration and the color on this thing. When I saw this pop up, it was an auction. I ended up being the only bidder. The starting bid was rather high, and I'll get into the numbers later, but I said, because I kept looking at copies, and just could not find one that had this good of a centering to it. And as soon as I saw it, I said, I have to go strong after this. I don't care what the comps are. I wanted this card. Now, if you're familiar with the cards from the 70 top set, you know that sometimes either at the very top or at the very bottom, there's almost like a white printing line that goes all the way across. And I have to admit, when I first got this and looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, if you look at it there, it looks like the card has a white line to it. And I'm like, how did I miss that? Because I don't want any of the 70s cards to have that line. It's just one of those things with me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Well, that is not one of those white print lines. It just happens to be the glare on the slab. So if you look at it there, there's no white line that goes across the bottom. So I was like, okay, good. So no line at the top, no line at the bottom. Great centering, great color, great registration. The back, really nice as well. Sometimes with the 70s cards, you get the cardboard has more of like a creamish color. This is, it's not quite bright. It's not bright white, but it's not super creamy, I guess, if you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but very, Very nice, clean back. Very happy with it, although, you know, the backs are a little bit less important for me than the fronts. But let's just take another look at that beautiful card. And for those who are interested in what the technical number grade was, I didn't want to, again, I'll go over the numbers there, but I for this card, I didn't want to drop down a number grade from what I had it on my list, only because you then start getting into cards that may have surface creases somewhere within the card, and I didn't want to risk that on this particular card. So I went with the technical number grade that I had it on my list, which is a PSA 4. Again, another great example of a mid-grade that I was able to find. I did pay for it. And I think in general, some of the Johnny Bench cards, especially this one, have gone up slightly since I put my list together. But before we get into the numbers, I thought I would just show off some of my other favorite Johnny Bench cards. Now I'm down to one card needed for his Topps Playing Days run. It's his elusive 1981 Topps card. Now you may not think, John, it's an 81 Topps card. You know, how hard is it to find one graded? Well, 9s go for like over $100. Not going to go there. So I'm looking for an 8. But down at the bottom where his name is, you start doing an eBay search and looking for, there's black ink smudges on every single copy you see. So I want to try to find one without any black ink smudges. So it's proven to be very difficult for me to find that 81 Topps card. So it'll be really happy once I do that to complete the Johnny Bench run. But here's some of my other favorites. I normally don't like dual player or multiplayer rookie cards, but in this case, just love the backwards cap there of Johnny Bench. So there's his rookie card, his most expensive card, again depending on the grade, of course, compared to the 70. But yep, there's that. Put that over there. Then, of course, a somewhat similar pose to his 70 is his great-looking 69 Topps. That's also in a 4. Then you gotta love the effort here in his 73 Topps card. Heading into the dugout, trying to catch that pop foul. And then a similar catching pose. Just Johnny Bench just looks great in those catching poses. And of course, with the All-Star logo down at the bottom. And for, I believe it's for all the All-Stars in the 75 set, they use the same color scheme. And I think this just looks great for all the Reds players that were All-Stars in this set. And this Johnny Bench is no exception. And then finally, his another sort of in-action shot, his great-looking 76. Another All-Star logo down in the bottom. So yeah, those are some of my favorite Johnny Bench cards, with, of course, this one now added to it. When I did in season 1 of my top 5 favorite cards of players, this one was in my top 5, and now I have all 5 of my favorite Johnny Bench cards in my collection. All right, so let's get to the numbers here, as I always do with these videos. I originally had this card on my list in a PSA 4, and I thought I would have to spend $100 to pick up a nice PSA 4 copy. Well, again, this project that I've been working on is over 2 years old. And in those last 2 years, there's become a centering tax or a premium for quote-unquote nice eye appeal cards that I didn't factor into this project of mine. So knowing that it's in the high number series, it's card number 660. knowing that it was a high number series, fairly hard to find a well-centered copy like this one, especially in a mid-grade. I knew there was going to be a centering tax. So, all in with shipping and tax, I'm in for $165. The bidding, again, it was an auction. It was for $149.99, and I was the only bidder. So I forget what my maximum was, but my bid was higher than the minimum bid because I wanted to win this. So I did go $65 over what I had originally thought I would need to pay for a PSA 4, but looking at this card, I do not regret it for one instance. So how did I do picking up this PSA 4? Forget about what I had it on my list, what I thought I'd have to spend for it 2 years ago. How did I do? To give you some perspective, a PSA 3 copy, and again, once you get into PSA 3s, chances are you may get most likely off-center, but 2, you may start getting some surface creases. There are no surface creases on this card. It's a great example. Just, issue with the corners. Yep. So on the low end of a PSA 3, $57. Average PSA 3, according to VCP, is $77. And on the high end, $95. So on the high end, really nice looking PSA 3, you're already up to $95. For a PSA 4, this is one I got here, the low end, $79. The average, $97. And before my purchase at $149.99, which is what records the auction winning price, the 12-month recent high on a PSA 4 was $118. So about $50 more. I now have paid the most for a 70 Topps Johnny Bench in a PSA 4 in the last 12 months. Now, there was one about 16 or 18 months ago that was $160 before shipping and tax, and was not centered like this one. It had issues, and still someone paid $160 for it. But even the one for 118, there was one for about 107, 109. They either had ink marks, the centering was off. Just none of the cards in the last 12 months that I looked at that were, $100 or more had the same eye appeal as this one. And one last perspective for PSA 5s. Low end, $71. Average for a PSA 5 is $135. And on the high end, $196. So if you take what was the high end for PSA 4 of $118 and the high of $196 for PSA 5, figure this, maybe have an eye appeal of a 4.5 or something, that centering or eye appeal tax. Well, what I paid for it is roughly, in between the 118 and the 196. Not that I really have to justify what I spent on this. I know it's sounding like I have to come up with all these numbers to justify what I spent on it, but I don't. I just want to give it some perspective of my thought process, what I was willing to pay on this, and very happy, very, very happy with adding this card to my collection. Now, how do I stand after 67 cards now on my list? Well, for those 67 cards, I thought I'd have to spend $6,290. And even with going over $65 on this purchase here, I still have only spent $3,705, which means I'm $2,585 to the good. So my goal is to, again, maybe try to get all 100 cards. I'd love to be able to get all 100 cards for maybe, I'm averaging about it's like 58% now. So if I can get all 100 cards for say $6,500 instead of $10,000, I would consider that a great accomplishment. So Yeah, that's all I have for you here. This 1970 Topps Johnny Bench, the 67th card off of my 100 cards for $10,000 list. Would love to know in the comments what do you think about this card right here and the other Johnny Bench cards that I have in my collection. So until next time, thanks for watching.